we'll try to see how this program works, how this loop or iteration repetition works, right? Right. Now, if you look at this one, right, you know, when you execute a program, right, the programs work or programs executed line by line. Programs are executed line by line. So it's the first line will work, then the program moves to the next line, then the next line. So even if you have a loop, right, it goes line by line, then it comes to the repetition, the initial part. So that's how the normally program works. Even any software program, if you take any software program, it works like line by line. Execute the first line, then goes to the second line. So regardless of the programming language, right, these programs works line by line. So that's the basic idea. Is that clear? So remember this, the programs works line by line. So first start with the first line, then it goes to the second one. Then like that, it moves to the next line. What's that? Right, okay. So now let's try to, let's try to understand this program, how this program works, right? Okay, there's a standard, I mean, there's a method to, evaluate, I mean, to understand. So let me explain that. So try to understand this. Maybe this is new to you, right? Okay. First, first let's start the program. Then the next step is reading this word, right? Read the lockdown, this keyword. Okay, that's there. After that, so there's a variable. So we just write a variable here like count, right? I mean, this is how we say this is a tracing table. So we will do more exercise on this tracing one later, right? Article, right? Okay. Right now, okay, initially, okay, after that, the count is equal to 1. So the count will be here. Count is initialized to 1, right? Now what will happen? Now this program, see, it goes to this condition box. These programs move from here to condition box. Is that clear? So try to understand, since you are very new to the programming, try to understand this. Each program, whatever, regardless of the programming language, programs works line by line. So it execute the first line, then move to the second line, then to the third line, so on and so forth, right? So here, as I said, it reads the line, read lockdown, then it takes the count as 1. After that, it jumps to this condition 1. Okay, it jumps to the condition box. Now what happens? You try to, you can draw this with me. Now what is the condition? Condition says count less than or equal to what? Count, let me like, okay, count less than or equal to 5. Okay, that is a condition 1. Is that clear to everyone? If you are just joined, what I'm explaining here is, right, so yesterday we learned the repetition structure or the looping structure, how the loops, we only did one example. But if you missed that class, you must watch that video. But if you know that, that's fine, then you don't need to watch it, right? But basic idea is here. But I strongly recommend you to watch that video. If you missed that, or if you don't understand better, you go through that video. Yesterday we covered thumb theory. Yesterday we covered this theory. Now we'll try to evaluate this. I mean, we'll try to understand how this programs works. That's very important for you. Usually in the exams, they ask you to they ask questions from this type of from like they expect you to understand the program. Maybe they don't normally ask you to draw a full-fledged flow chart on repetition. They don't normally give ask to draw repetition flow charts, but sometimes, normally, usually in MCQ and in part 2, you should be able to interpret this table, interpret this flow chart. That is very important, right? You should be able to interpret this flow chart. Is that clear what I'm saying? You should be able to interpret, you should be able to understand what is happening in the background. That's what I'm trying to explain here. So basically we draw a tracing table. So you don't need the name, but let's see. Okay, first we'll draw the whatever the variables are here. Okay, we have the count variable here. Then the condition. As I said, the programs works line by line. It's execute line by line. So, okay, now after initializing the count variable to 1, what happens? This program comes to here, this line. That is a condition. Okay, now what happens? The program check the condition. Okay, tell me count less than or equal 5. Is this condition? Now my count is 1. I'm checking less than or equal to 5. Is this true or false? You can talk, or you can, you have to interact, otherwise it's very difficult. Yes, Riza, you're correct. It's true, very simple, it's true, right? Not false, it's true, right? Don't say yeah, it's true. So condition is true. So let's take this one. Condition is true. Condition is true. Now what happened? If the condition is true, this program has two options. If the condition is false, it's got jump to this area. If condition is true, program continues here. Is that clear? If the condition is true, program continues through this yes part. Okay, now what will happen? What is the next step then? The condition is true now. Now what will happen? Now what will happen? If the condition now the condition is true, right? Now what will happen? Give me a minute. I will rewrite this. Okay, we initialize the count. Initially count is 1. My condition is count less than or equal 5. So first time condition is true. Then next step, it should display. Okay, what is the item you will see in the screen now? Yes, Umar. Display lockdown. Very good. So it display the word lockdown. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Okay. So initially, now you see the word lockdown. Okay, let me write that also. Lockdown. Lockdown in capital. No, lockdown. Okay. Right now, now what happens? Now the program comes to this place. You can think this like as a like a human. So you can imagine this as you are moving, right? You are moving using a ladder. You are moving a ladder. You are moving using a ladder. So you have to move step by step. No, you can't jump, right? Now you are here. What would be the next step then? What is your next step? What is the next step, Zora? Once you completed the display, once you complete, okay, you show that display lockdown, then what would be the next step? Where do you go? You go to where? You go to count, right? Very good. So we come to this count one. So yesterday I said, why do we use, okay, I'll come to that later. Okay. Now what happens? We come to this count. Now my count is equal to count plus 1. So my count, new count is equal to the count. The count is 1 plus 1. So what is the new value? New value of count is not 1, it's 2. It's 2. Is that clear? Okay. So you just try to understand, right? Even if you missed yesterday's class, if you follow closely what I'm explaining here, at least 75% you can understand. Okay. Now what happens? Program comes to this place. So this is why we say it's an iteration. Now see, it comes to the starting point. This is why we say it's a loop. This is why we call this is a repetition, sorry, or iteration or loop. All are same. Repetition, loop, because it's looping, right? It's looping. Now what happens? You are here. You are here now. So what happens now? What is the next step? Who can explain? What would be the next step? Yes, Arthika, what would be the next step? Very good, Umar. Yes, what would be the next step? You can just interact, right? Check the condition. Very good. Check the condition. So you are coming to this point now. You are coming to this point. So let's delete all this, because we are starting a now new iteration. So you are here now. Now you are here. You are checking the condition. Okay. Now what is the condition? Count less than or equal 5. What is the value of my count now? What is the value of my count? 2. Less than or equal to 5. Is this true or false? Is this true or false now? Less than or equal to 5.
True.
False. Is it false? True, right? Because see the condition, it's true, right? True. That is clear, no? That is clear. Okay. So we are done with that. Okay. Wait. Because let me write it like this: 2 less than or equal 5. That is 2. Don't leave. Try to stay in the class, right? Okay. Now you jump to this place, because as I said, execute line by line, one step by step by step. Okay. What would be the next step? What would be the next step then? You have to interact. Yeah, displaying the word. Okay, let's display the word lockdown. See, lockdown. So that's why I draw this tracing table. Now you can understand, easily what happens behind, what happens when this program executed. When this program works, what happens? Okay, now we are done with displaying. What will happen? What would be the next step? What would be the next step? So we know it goes to here, count. So my count will become now 3. My count will become 3. Is that clear? My count will become 3, because we are adding count equal the previous count is 2 plus 1, that is 3. Is that clear? This is the new value of count. You take time, it's okay, and try to understand how this program works. I'm not saying, even I'm not asking you to understand this, the how to draw the flowchart. Even if you don't understand the flowchart, even if you don't know how to draw the complete flowchart, the repetition, but you should know how this works, right? So you should know how to interpret this flowchart. That's very important. Okay, now what happens? The program comes to this part, initial part. Okay, now what is the next step? Who can explain the next step? Who can explain the next step now? Now the program is here. Now it's again come to the condition box. Okay, so what happens now? It will check the condition. Very good. It will check the condition. So that is count is 3 less than or equal 5. Is that true or false, Riza?
True, sir.
Very good. So it's true. So what will happen now? It goes to the next line. See, we are looping. We are repeating the same steps. That's why we call this is a repetition structure. This is a repetition. This is a loop. Okay. Now what happens? Display the lockdown. Lockdown. Right? Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. What would be the next step? What would be the next step? Zuhra, can you tell me what would be the next step then?
Again, we have to repeat count.
Count. Then what would be the new value of count?
4.
4. You know, right? Because now the count, what happens to the count? If you are still not clear, my count is now 3, right? Count is 3 here. So new count will be count equal old count, that is 3 plus 1, that is 4. Okay, now what happens? Program comes to this place again. Now what would be the next step then? Now it comes to the condition box. You check the condition. 4 less than or equal 5. this condition is true. Now it's clear now. The condition is true. Is that clear now? Now what happens? Now you are here now, right? So next step, because the condition is true, so the program will goes to the yes box, yes part. So what happens is display the lockdown. So again, you will see the word lockdown. Is that clear? Now it goes to the next count, and then the count will become count plus 1. My count is now not 3, 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So this is the count value, 5. Is that clear? So what happens? Program comes to this place. Now it check the condition again. 5 less than or equal 5. Is this true or false?
True.
Is this true or false? True. Okay, good answer. Good, very good. So condition is true because we are saying 5 less than or equal. See, the equal part is there. The condition is true. Now what happens? You are here. Here. What? So the condition is true. So where do you go now? Yes. So Fadila, where do you go now? Which part? No part or yes part? Which branch? Yes part or no part? Yes. Okay, good. So now what happens? You jump to this yes and display the word lockdown. So you write this lockdown. Right now, you go to this count and count will become now count plus 1. What is my new count value? What is my new count value? What is the new count value now? Count plus 1. Previous count is 5. 5 plus 1. So new count would be 6. So I am now here. My count is 6. Now again the loop. So again program comes and check the condition, right? Again you are here. Okay, now my count is 6 less than or equal to 5. Okay, is this true or false? Is this true or false? My condition. Sorry?
False.
False. This condition is false. Now what happens the program? Now see, now it goes to the yes branch or the no branch. Which part? Yes or no? Since the condition is false, very simple. It goes to the no part. So then it moves to the no part. You can see there is nothing to execute here. There is no instruction. Only you have the end. So you have to end the program. See? So now look at this one. This program, now it won't return to the loop. See, once it jumps to the no part, it won't come back to this loop area. It won't come back to this loop area. Is that clear? So if you want to execute anything inside the loop, you have to draw inside this loop, because once it's come to the no part, it can't go back to that. Okay, now what I want you to do is you want to copy down this table, right? You can write, this is called tracing table, right? Although you don't find these informations in your textbook, but don't worry, right? So we will do, when you do past papers, you will understand why we are doing this, right? Right. Okay. So try to understand. This is very important. Right. Can you note down this table in your book, with along with this the last flow chart? Right. You can draw this. So now look at this one. How many times you have displayed the lockdown? How many times you can see the word lockdown? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, that is the question, right? So I want you to display the word lockdown 5 times. So see, this is how you trace. This is how you trace this flow chart. This is how you understand how this flow chart works. Okay, note down this. Any questions? How do you think? Is this clear? Oh, I don't know because I can't see anything, so it's very difficult. Like remotely teaching is very difficult. If you don't understand, you have to tell me. As I said earlier also, if you don't understand, you can ask me, or otherwise at least rewatch the video, go through this recording again. That's why I'm sharing the recording. So I usually share the recording just after the class. So if you're not clear, you can rewatch the recording. Okay, shall I erase this? Is anyone writing? If you are writing, please raise the hands. If anyone writing, please raise the hands. Okay, it seems everyone is fine. Right, okay. So we'll do another one, right? We'll do another exercise. Now, so here I have given the what you call the flow chart as well. Write down this question and the flow chart. Write down the question and the flow chart. What is the question? Okay, display question number 2. Very simple one. So let's try to understand how this work. So I have given the flow chart. Display multiples of 5 in between 5 to 100, including the 5 and 100. Okay, including the 5 and 100. So we have to display the multiples of 100. We have to display the multiples of 100. You know what is the multiples of 100, right? So we have to display the multiples of 5 between 5 to 100. That is like 5, 10, 15. What is the next one? 20 up to 100. So including 105. Okay. And the flow chart also given, right? Now what you have to do is there are a couple of blanks, only 2 blanks. Here there is a blank, here there is a blank. Try to complete that blank. So I will give you like a maximum like 5 minutes. So you can try. Once you're done, you can raise the hands and we can start discussing this. Any questions you can ask me. If you have any doubt, if you are not clear anything, you can ask me. So very simple, you have to fill these blanks. 2 blanks are there. Right? So you have to fill this one. So, but complete the drawing. You have to draw the complete flow chart and fill the blank. Don't just write, don't just fill these 2 only, right? That's not what I want. I want you to draw this complete flow chart and complete these 2 boxes, which I have marked with the question mark. Okay. So 5 participants raised the hand. Okay. Okay, 7 participants. So can the number, what is that outcome? Can the number be 100? Between 100 means can, yes, you include 100 as well. It's fine. You include 100. Is that clear? If you don't, if you can't do it, it's okay. It's okay. We will learn, right? So because you are here to learn. So if you can't do this, don't panic. Nothing to worry. So you can we will be able to cover more example. Right. Zohra, right. Sarah, Atika, Fadila, Hani, Uda. Okay. Umar. Okay. Uh, okay. Shall we? Okay. Now you can. We can. Sir, it's hard to. It's hard. Okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay, Fadila. Right. But you didn't. You were there in the last class, right? Yesterday. Right. Now we'll come to this one. We want to find the multiples of 5, right? Between 5 and 100. Okay. Uh, so as I said, we initially we say, right? We don't need to, I mean, okay, we'll do this. Initially we say the number, right? So n, we say n equal 5. We are not going to take anything. There's no input in this case. You don't need to type anything from the keyboard like the previous one, right? Since we have this n equal 5. So don't worry about this because already they have given the flowcharts. Okay. Now let's come to the condition. Now we have to find the multiples from in between 5 to 100. So what would be this condition? So how, I mean, you have to check, okay, whether this condition is goes, okay, now you have to find that condition. Yes, there are a couple of years, less than or equal. Okay, good. Any idea what would be the condition? You can just share what you have written. Yes, Maya correct, Uzma correct, Najat correct, Rida, right? Rida. Yes, correct. Raiza correct. Okay. Right, wrong. Arkam correct. Atika, yes, Atika correct. Okay, good. Okay. Now we have a question. How do we, what would be this condition? Right? Okay. Now you know, right? So we have to repeat this table. We have to repeat this flow chart. We have to repeat this loop. This is my loop. This is my loop area or the repetition area. Okay. So you can see from this arrow. See. So we are coming back to the same place. So you are looping. You are repeating. Okay. You are looping to the same area, right? Right now, if you look at this one, right, we have to find the multiples of 5 between 5 and 100. No, so you can start from 5, right? You can start from 5. What would be the next multiple? 5. Then what is the next one? 5. So what is the next one? 10. Yes, good. 10. Then what is the next one? 15. Like that. What would be the last one? What would the last one? You can go up to 100. So in this case, right, so you can check the condition here. You can check the condition, that is my n number, right, that should be less than or equal to 100. Always you check, right? So okay, let's look at this one. Initially it's 5, right? Now you check the condition less than or equal to 100. Okay, first it's 5, no? So condition is true. It goes to this 2 years part and display the number. So it's like 5. Right, first one is 5, then it becomes 10, right? Then it again display the number. Like that it move on until it reach the 100. When this n becomes 100, you have to stop. You have to display that and you have to stop. So my condition would be n less than or equal to 100. So this is maybe when you do some questions you will understand. Okay, that's okay, right? Yes. So the last is 100. So we usually write like that. So we don't say 5. 5 is wrong. And you don't say n greater than or equal 5. If you, okay, now tell me, if you write the condition like this, is this correct? N greater than or equal 5. Instead of this, if you write like this, n greater than or equal 5. This also work. Because initially 5, then 10, 15, like that it will work. What is the problem with this one, Zohra? If you write like this, what would be the problem?
Numbers greater than 100 also can be input.
Yes, very good. So numbers greater than 100 also can come here, right? So there will be no end. Yes, that's also a good idea. Yeah, there will be no end. Then what type of a loop? This will become an infinite loop, right? It goes on and on. So we say it's an infinity or infinite loop, right? So if you refer to the last year's paper, last year's question on Pascal on this flow chart, so they asked this infinite or the infinite loop, right? Okay, so we'll come to that later. Right now, that is the problem. So you should know how to find this, but by experience you will learn it, right? Okay. Now what happens? It comes and display the number as previous one. Okay. Now, what should be this one? Yesterday I said you should always have inside your loop, you should have an important partner, important person. So we gave a name. So you should have a counter variable. So you should always have a counter. So this is your counter. Why do we use a counter? Why do we use a counter? Okay, now if you take, okay, now let's try to understand this one. Okay, now I said, right, now we say we don't have a counter. We don't have a counter variable. My n is 5 initially. It checked the condition, n less than or equal 5. So 5 less than or equal 100. This is true. No, this is true, right? Now what happens is display the number. So it's display number 5 and it comes to this place again. Now what is the value of n? We don't have a counter. We don't have this. So what is the value of n? Yes, Artika, what is the value of n now? Yes, 5. Yes, correct. Okay, so n is 5 now. See, now it comes and check the condition. Okay, condition is true. Again, display the n. What would be the value you see here now? Lakshini, what would be the value you see here if you don't have a counter? We don't have a counter variable. We don't have this. Let's assume. So we don't have this inside the loops. Okay, this box is not there. We don't have the counter. So we just like displaying. So what would be the what is the output now? Now what you see in this screen? Yes, what you see in the screen. Just think, you have to involve here, right? As I said, when you do these program questions or program classes, you have to involve. Always it's 5. Very good. So you see 5 here. Again, it comes to this point. Check the condition. My n is 5. Condition is true. Again, display 5. Now, is this what we want? Is this what we want? No. We want to see the multiples of 5. So this 5 should be 10. This 5 should be 15. Now think, how do you make this 5 to 10? How do you change this? So that's why we use these counters. We use these counter variables inside this loop. Okay, now tell me, initially you have 5 for the n, right? We want to make it 10 first round. First time when you execute, it's 5. That's fine. Second time when you come here, you should have 10 here instead of 5. Instead of 5, you should have 10 here. How do you make it 10? How do you get how do you make it 10? Because n is 5, how do you make it 10? Yes, very simple. Think like that. You have 5 here. If you want to make it 10, you have to add 5 to this 10. So you add 5 to this n. You add 5 to this n. Then you can get the next value. Right? So 10, then you add 5 to 10, you will end up in 15. You add 5 to 15, you will end up in 20, like that. Now you can change the value. Is that clear? So now it's clear. So what would be the counter variable here? You have to write here n plus 5. That should be my new n. That should be my new n. Yesterday also I explained this. We don't use a new variable. We put into the same variable because we don't want to keep the previous value. So we use the same. That's why yesterday we discussed, I explained this clearly. So we use this, what you call, look at this one, n equal n plus 1, right? These are independent. These concepts are independent from programming languages. Even if you learn the Java or Python or any language, the basic is same. So don't worry, right? So here n, we say you add 5 to n, right? Now what happens? Now look at the program. Now what happens? If you now you can write. Okay, now can you draw a tracing table? Okay, can you guys draw a tracing table for this? Okay, your variable is n, right? This is n. Initially it's 5, and your condition is n less than or equal 100. So it's initially true, and you are displaying n. So display, we say n. So what would be the display here? N is 5, right? So that first one. Okay. Now, if you move to the next, okay, once you display this one, okay, you are here, you display this. Now, n will become what? N plus 5, that is 10. So program will come to this place. Now check the condition. Okay, now what is the condition? Now what is the condition? Yes, Kirtika, what is the condition here? N less than 100, less than or equal to 100. So my n is 10. less than or equal to 100. Is this true or false? Is this true or false? This is true, right? This is true, right? It's true. Then what will happen? Display the n. So it will display 10, right? Now it goes to the, again it comes to this area, n will become n plus 5, 10 plus 5, 10 plus 5, which is 15, right? So again it will check the condition, 15 less than or equal to 100, that is true. So it comes and display the value 15. Like that it moves, right, until n reach 100. So you can draw this, right? You can draw the, now after completing this, just sketch this tracing table. You draw the staging table, you draw this tracing table. No need to go up to 100. Just write a few lines, and you can maybe you can finish it later. Okay. Now draw the tracing table. Is that clear what I'm saying? Draw this table. You can create your own one, right? As I said earlier, this is not very easy, not very easy. So you have to focus, you have to think, you have to involve in the class. If you are like, if you are coming to watch a movie, if you think you are in a movie theater, if you assume that you are in a movie theater today in the morning, so then this is not easy. Right? So if you want to learn, you have to focus, you have to concentrate, you have to involve. What is Atika? Yeah, we don't need to say the less than or equal to 100, no? Because when you say sorry, less than or equal to 5, I don't understand your question, but okay. Zaharin, you have any questions? You have raised the hand. Can we put this inside the condition box? Yeah, Zatika, okay. Can we, okay, yeah, we say, when you say less than or equal to 100, right? Because can we use this one? That's what you're asking, right? No, we don't need Atika. Why? Because our n is initially 5, no? So we are starting from 5. So we know it's always greater than 5. So you just check whether it's less than or equal to 100. Right? So you don't need to check whether it's greater than, what is that? Yeah, greater than or equal to 5. Because we are starting, my starting value is that, no? So you don't need to do that, right? Is that clear? So you just check this, that's enough. Right? You just check the upper boundary, upper one. So you don't need to say whether it's greater than, because starting value is 5. So it's always greater than 5. Right? You can complete this now. If you have not done, you can just complete it. Okay, let's do another one. Is that clear? Any questions, Fadila? If you have any questions, please ask me. Even you can ask me after the class if you don't. I mean, sir, aren't we supposed to end this tracing table just like we? Yes, you can continue, Zaharin. You can continue the tracing table. Please do it later, right? If you are, you can continue. Maybe you can continue. Yes, yes, that's what I want. You can continue up to 100, right? Yes, you can go up to 100. Then you see how it works. But you can do it later, no? Right? Right. So we'll do another question. Third one, I guess, yes. Okay, write down the question. Display even numbers in between 100 to 500, including 100 and 500. Okay, then draw this table. Draw this flow chart, sorry, flow charts. And again, you have to complete these two boxes, right? Very simple, you can do it quickly. Boys, especially, you have to copy this table, right? You have to copy the flowchart, right? Don't just write down the answers, because you know why? We are going to use this flowchart again when we do the pseudocodes. So you need these flowcharts for the pseudocode. So you have to have the flowchart. This is very easy. You very similar to the previous one. Okay, shall we? Yes, Raisa, you're done. Okay, how about others? Right, Umar. Again, you have to include the 100 and 500. But okay, now can you guys tell me what would be the condition, Arkan? How do you check this condition? Hmm? So we have to go up to 500. So you are starting from like, okay, basically what you have to do here is even numbers between 100 and 500. So it's like 100, 102, 104, like 106 up to 500. So what would be your condition? What would be the condition? Yes, Rida, correct. Raisa also correct. Rida, you can just maybe if it is difficult, okay, maybe you can just put the signs, right? Yes, Mayada also correct. Arkam, no, we don't write that way, Arkam. Zohra correct. Umar, okay, why do you say I mean, okay, okay, I'll explain that. Why is this confusion? Okay. Okay, can we specify the condition like this in this flow chart? Can we say in between? No, I don't know. If you learn somewhere, don't do that, right? Don't do that. That's not necessary, and it's not. We don't use it that way, right? You don't know. Other day some students said, okay, remember that someone said that the yes box should come this side and the no box. I don't know. So those are, I don't know how they come up with this kind of ideas. Here, see, we don't need to check this part here in less than or equal, right? So can, because we know we starting from 100, right? So okay, now Sarah, you have two part. Now it's greater than or equal to 500 or less than or equal to 500. So this the first one is wrong. Okay. Shihan, okay, you are checking whether the number less than or equal to 100. Okay. Less than or equal to 500. Okay, good. Less than 500. Okay. Right. Now, tell me, okay, if you, okay, look at this one. We want to display numbers, even numbers, okay, between 100 to 500. So as I said, you start with 100, 102, 104, 106, right? So on. So what is the last number? How far you want to go? What is the last number? You have to go up to 500. So your number should be greater than 500 or less than 500 or less than or equal to 500 or greater than or equal to 500. So if you move like this, what would be the last one? You go up to 500, yes. So your number, should it be greater than or equal 500, Umar, right? So if you say greater than or equal 500, that means, okay, let's try to understand this, right? Okay, I will take this condition as some of you mentioned this. So let me, okay, n greater than or equal 500. Sarah, this is what you said, right? N greater than or equal 500. Okay, good. Now shall we do a tracing table for this? This is how I mean, when you have a table, when you have a flow chart, especially with repetition, you can do with anything, any conditions, any structures, but especially with the repetition, if you feel like confusing, we usually do the tracing table. Okay, now let's take this condition is this in the greater than or equal to 500. Okay, now you display the number, right? As I said, we have to display 100, the even numbers, 102, 104, 106, so on, right? Okay, now you come here. What would be the counting, looping, count? What would be this counting variable? Because we want to move to the first, my number is 100, no, first one, my number is 100. Then I have to move to 102. Then I have to move to 104. Then how do we move it? How do we change this? Yes, Riza, you are correct. How about others? Right? How do you move this? How do you change this? First it's 100. Then I have to go to 102. So how do you get that number? How do you make it this count variable? Yes, is that clear? Always very good. So you have to add 2 to this. So you have, if you add n equal n plus 2, if you add 2 to the n, then you can get this number. Very simple, like a mathematical, what you call this, uh, mathematical series, right? Right. Okay, now this is my counting variable. Okay. As some of you think that the condition should be like n greater than or equal 500, let's try to do the tracing table. Okay, now everyone, okay, this is my final flow chart. Okay, let's assume. Okay, can you try to create a tracing table for this tracing table, like, okay, like this one, n initially I need some space here. Okay. Okay, tracing table, you can draw this one. Initially n, this is 100. Then the condition n greater than or equal 500. Okay, let's assume, right? Let's assume, we don't know. Maybe as you, some of you said, we'll try to do this. Okay. Then display the value, display the n. Right. First do the first one. So it's initialized to 100. That is the first step. As I said, it works step by step. Then it moved to this condition. Okay, now check the condition n greater than or equal 100. Is this condition true? My n is 100, greater or equal to 500. Is this condition true? Anyone? Is this condition true? Yes, Rida, you are correct. Yes, how about others? Sarah, what do you think? Is this condition correct? Umar, is this condition correct? Oh, 100 greater than or 500. Is this true, Sarah? Is this true? 100 is greater than 500. Just think and say. That is false, right? Now condition is false, right? This condition is false. Now what will happen to the program? If the condition is false, program will jump to this no part. Program will go to the no part. Is that clear? So what happened now? So it won't work. Yes, any questions? It won't work. Basically, it won't work because this is what you have to understand, right? Is that clear? Now, then what would be the condition now? Okay, now if you put the condition other way around, if you put the condition other way around, right? That is like 500 less than or equal to 100. Now what will happen? Less than or equal to 500. Okay. Now, if you put the condition like this, okay, can you draw the tracing table now? Now we have to change the condition. This should be less than or equal to 500. Okay. Now we'll put the condition less than or equal to 500. So n is 100 less than or equal to 500. Is this true or false now? Is this true or false? Is this true or false now, Sarah? Is this true? Yes, this is true now. Now true, then the program will go to this yes part and is display the value n, which is 100, first number. Then it goes to the n plus n equal n plus 2, the counter variable. So my n will become n plus 2 mean 102. Now it will come again here, check the condition here, which is like 102 less than or equal to 500. That is true. So again, it will display the n 102. Okay. So then what happens? It goes to this increment loop. The counter. So it will n will become n plus 2. So again, it will check the condition. So that is true. So you can continue this. You can continue this. So until n become 500. Once n is 500, so n less than or equal 500. So again, the condition is true. Then it will display the 500. Now n will become 502. So 502 less than or equal 500 condition is false. Now it won't. It will program will stop. So this is basically how it works. So you can go through this later if you are not clear. I try to complete this, right? Try to complete this. Right. Final one. Last question for the day. Is that clear? Okay, we'll do another one, right? We'll do another one, maybe. Right. Now this is very similar to the previous ones, okay? But I have changed a little bit again. Right. Okay. Is it question number 6? I can't remember. Okay, you can write whatever the question number. Okay. Display the numbers. Display the numbers. So you have to display the numbers, right, between 10 down to 1, right? 10, you have to write the question, display the numbers 10 down to 1. Right? Display the numbers from 10 down to 1. Example like this. You have to display, right, the numbers 10, 9, 8, 7 up to 1. So this is the program, right? So the flow chart is given now. Flow chart is given. So draw the flow chart here. Copy down the flow chart. Okay, so copy down the flow chart, right? You copy down the flow chart. So you can do it at home, right? Maybe some students, they have class at 7:15. So just try to complete this at home, right? So there are three places you should complete, right? Three boxes, right? So complete this one, then this one, and this one. Right, so draw the flow chart and complete this. You can write it. I mean, you can think, right, and complete this and WhatsApp me your answers. Any questions?